Hello and welcome to MAFT UK. First and foremost, a big thank you to all the subscribers. Yeah, I've gone over the 50 mark now and I'm really pleased about that. So thank you very much for your support from MBA all the way up to Sparky750 and all the guys that comment and support me. I really appreciate it and I hope I can keep you entertained for a lot longer. So here we go with the latest one. This one is pretty much a basic video. It covers underquilts and insulation, from Romats all the way up to the expensive stuff. The reason I'm doing this video tonight is because we're heading into winter. We've just gone into autumn now. Winter's very quickly around the corner, and if you're anything like me, you'll want to be out and about in it, and especially testing out some new gear. But you don't have to shy away from the winter if you don't have the expensive stuff. And I know that for a fact because that's what I've been doing for the last couple of years. It's only this year that I've got all this new gear to try this winter. But I've been perfectly adequate out there with the gear that I've had previously, -12. So, it's not something that you can shy away from. You can get out there in the elements. So we need to start really with the first thing. What do we need first of all? Well, first of all we need our hammock. It doesn't have to be an expensive hammock, especially in the winter. It can be a simple, basic, standard hammock. One thing that I would personally go for, should you have the opportunity, is the double layer. Double layer hammocks allow you to put something in between the layers, like the roll mat behind us here. If we can get the roll mat in between us, in between the layers, it stops it sliding around. And that is the most cheapest form of insulation there is going. And it works perfectly fine. The only problem you have with it is if you put it in the hammock with you, it can slide around a bit and, well, generally a bit of a pain in the butt. And if you slide off it, you bleeding well know about it. So that is more or less the starting point for any hammock insulation, really, if you don't have an underquilt. And there is nothing wrong with this. Now, is that on its own just enough? Well, it can be. Early winter, be perfectly fine. But I found a video on YouTube which gave me a heads up for windshield protectors. Now, in the UK, I went to Halfords, and there were a couple on display, and one of them was self-folding with little lucky bands around it. £11 I think I paid. Seems quite a lot for a windscreen protector, but it's very effective at heat retention. And that looks a bit like this. Now, I've actually cut one of the corners off this and folded it over to fit my hammock a bit better. But I found that very, very useful. There are some disadvantages which I'll cover later on, but that is a very useful piece of equipment, and I will say I've been out with just that. Nothing else underneath me, just that, and stayed perfectly warm. But there are cons. What else? Well, behind me hung up here, we have various types of inflatable mats that you can go in a hammock with. There are some very, very expensive ones and some very, very budget ones. This is a budget one, but it has little stickers on it. Oops, you might not be able to see, but there's a little anti-skid there. You might be able to see shining in the light, little anti-skid pads. Perfect for in here. But its shape means it might not cover you. So you could go full bore, like this one. You just got to try and figure out how to make it work, and again, I'll show you that in a bit. Let's go on to our initial underquilts. Okie dokie then. Do you know what a woobie is? You know what American poncho liner is? That's one there. You call them a woobie blanket. The reason they call them a woobie blanket is because without it you will be cold. don't blame me for that one. Now this was my very first underquilt. I happen to have this from years ago, from when I did a quick visit over in America, and I exchanged it for some kit with another soldier. And background noise. And there's a guy out there called K-Dog Crazy. I subscribe to him. K-Dog Crazy will show you how to turn this into an underquilt. And I'm going to be honest with you, it fits the DD the DD front line perfectly. If you can turn that into an underquilt with very, very little stitching, if any at all, you're laughing. And that's perfect for those winter nights, and it certainly did me. No problem at all. That was a really good deal. However, like we do, we move on, don't we? The DD under blanket. Probably my first, well, it was my first proper under blanket. And initially, I liked it. I still do in a way, but with the hammocks that I have and hammocks I use now, I did struggle using it a bit. I have recently discovered a better way to use it with this type of hammock that I've got now, to give me that extra room, but I do feel a little bit penned in with all the straps in front of my face and everything. And again, I'll show you all that later. But the DD under blanket, very good. Good budget. Oh, it's £60, £50, £60, can't remember. It's alright. There's also a tip out there as well, one of my videos, should it break on you, how to repair it. But overall, yeah, not a bad investment. And -5, don't think I ever actually slept in that down to -5, but the reports coming out from other people saying that it was perfectly fine. But maybe that's the case, I don't know. I can't argue that point, it wasn't me. Finally, ouch, the expensive stuff. This is my UK Hammocks Underquilt, and I know you would have seen that previously, and yes, it is as good as it gets, really. There is a couple of little modifications I've done with it on other videos that you would have seen, but seriously, I'm not just saying it because it's expensive, I'm saying it because it's a fact. It is fantastic. Once you've got something like this, you won't go back. I'm telling you straight, because it just fits, it's warm, it's just everything it needs to be. And yes, it's bleeding expensive too. And my next purchase will be the top quilt to go with it. I won't be getting that colour though. But you know, the only reason I'm going to go for the top quilt is because the underquilt is brilliant. And if the top quilt's anything to go by too, then well, I think you've probably nailed it when you've got those. So yeah, but let's have a look at how these things go together. Let's have a look at how all these things from the budget ones actually work with a hammock and whether they're suitable or not. Okay, see you in a bit. The first one we're going to try is going to have to be the budget cheapest of the cheapest, which is our Romant. And what we need to do is insert it into our hammock. Now, personally, because it's rolled this way, I roll it, put it into the hammock the opposite way, so it's not curling back on myself. So I find the break, insert the Romant. Now, it's always fiddly. That's it. All you would need to do now, get on the top of there, and you're insulated from the elements. You've got your corners up nice and high on your shoulders, on your feet too. If you're given the choice, or if you're a little bit longer or your Romant's a bit shorter, always have your shoulders insulated rather than your bottoms or you know, bottom part of your body. That way you can always put other stuff down there. But if your shoulders and back are cold in the night, it's really, really uncomfortable. You can always put extra socks on, and you can always put a small amount underneath your feet up this end. So always prefer to cover your shoulders rather than your feet, okay? That's my tip, that's what I do. So that then is simply the easiest way of doing it. There's nothing wrong with that. nothing whatsoever, and that is perfectly workable. But if it got really cold, or it was going to get really cold, why not put one of those in too? Why not enhance it, reflect that body heat back up to you? See where I've cut the corner off there? That's to go up to my feet end, give me the best cover I can. So why not now put your screen protector in. You've got your shoulders covered, now you've got your legs covered, your back's covered. That's absolutely fine. Now we've just enhanced our sleep another 20 points. Downside to this, condensation, but it is warm and you will be finding that. But like I say, you will get condensation. It's guaranteed you'll get condensation. Very quick and very comfortable. Inflatable mats. A little bit better now. This is a very thin one, so not very practical for me. I don't know why that is. Trick with using these mats is to make sure you let some air out. You don't want them rigid. You want them to sort of conform with your body. So let a bit of air out. You just want it supporting itself. You just want enough air in there to inflate it, and then cap it off. Leave it, and then that will keep you really warm all night. But this type is a bit thin for me, like I said, but this is good. It's good. It's good. And with the non-slip bits as well, they won't slide around all over underneath you. Okay, let's move on again. A large inflated mat. Now I've not actually tried to put this one in the hammock before. I'm not even sure if it will fit. Let's give it a go. But bear in mind, if you're going to go and buy a hammock and you buy the 10th Wonder extra long, it's also extra wide too. This is far too wide. I would not want to sleep in this. Okay, let's move on there. I've tried that inside the hammock. Let's try it on top rather than in between the layers, because it should work. Now that's looking a bit more promising. Personally, I'm not going to go with this one. Don't like it. Doesn't work. It probably would be perfectly okay in something like the DDXL, where that would be lost in it and probably more suitable. But to something like this, I don't find it suitable. We're now going to move on to our underquilts. My first underquilt, as I explained earlier, was made from a whoopee blanket, and it was designed by K-Doll Crazy. Brilliant. But unfortunately, I cannot show you that because I dismantled it and it's now back to being a blanket again. So unfortunately, can't show you that one. The DD underquilt, definitely show you that one. The last time I tried to use this underquilt with this hammock, I was really struggling to try and keep my body covered. It wasn't big enough to go over on my shoulders, yada yada yada. Another video on that. But I was missing the bleeding obvious, I think. That's, oh, again, saying that though, I don't like it. These are suspenders for your underquilt, alright? We know that. But there's just something about using them that I don't like. And I'm really not comfortable with them. I mean, yes, it is doing its purpose, it's holding it up out of the way, which is what we want it to do. But I seriously, I can't work with it. What do you think, Nate? What do you think? Hmm? You think lick, lick, lick. Right, okay. I don't like it. It's not for me. I can't be doing with all this. This here does me head in. Go away. Okay, we'll go. Right, so, quick recap. Roll mats, fine. Air beds, certain ones, perfectly fine. Underquilts, fine. Make one if you can. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Even a simple cheap bargain sleeping bag, which basically is the wubby blanket, cut, opened up, stitched up. If you're prepared to do a bit of stitching, you know, you can have yourself a cheap underquilt. You don't need to spend mega bucks. But there is just no comparison to this. None. That's my underquilt protector in there as well. It weighs nothing. I kid you not, this works. It's flexible. It moves with you. I just can't fault it. Now I've made some minor adjustments. So don't be put off. Don't think that you need the best gear. You don't need it. What you need is to get out. Learn how to use your gear and enjoy the seasons for what they are. And you won't be cold. You just need to know how to use it. So practice. Well, thank you to all of you for subscribing. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, please ask away. If I can answer them, I will, and you know that. So see you again soon. Thanks very much. Bye bye.